Peoria Planning and Zoning Commission. The Planning and Zoning Commission is composed of volunteer citizens appointed by the City Council. The Commission is the designated hearing body for a range of land use applications, including general plan amendments, rezones, conditional use permits, and amendments to the zoning code. Upon recommendation by the Commission, general plan amendments, rezones, and zoning code amendments proceed forward to the Peoria City Council for final action. For conditional use permits, the Commission will make a final decision subject to appeal. All hearings are conducted in accordance with the rules for procedure requirements to allow an impartial and efficient hearing, and all Commission meetings are open to the public under the Arizona Open Meeting Law. Each case will be called in the order in which it appears on the agenda unless otherwise announced during the meeting. Once called, City staff will give a presentation of the case, followed by a presentation from the applicant if they so desire. After the applicant's presentation, members of the public who have submitted a speaker's request form will be called to speak by the Commission Chair. The applicant may be called to provide additional information, clarification, or a rebuttal. The Commission will discuss the case, may ask additional questions, and take action. Any member of the public wishing to speak must complete a speaker's request form and hand it to the planning assistant at the end of the dais. When speaking, please limit your comments to a maximum of 3 minutes and try not to repeat statements already made by others. We welcome your comments, and as fellow citizens of Peoria, we thank you in advance for your participation.
Good evening. Welcome to the January 18, 2024 Peoria, Arizona Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. I'd like to start out with a quick roll call. Commissioner Doug Myers.
Present.
Commissioner Tom Konkowski.
Present.
Vice Chair Jeff Nelson.
Present.
Secretary Josephine Waitman is not present. Clay Alsop not present, and Leila Villasenor is also not present. But we do have a quorum, so we can move forward. So at this time, I'd like to make a last call for any speaker request forms. Anyone? The speaker request forms are right next to the podium. If you can fill it out as completely as possible, that would be great. First item on the agenda is the consent agenda. All items on the consent listed on the consent agenda are considered routine in nature and have been previously reviewed by the Commission and will be enacted in one motion. No separate discussion on these items unless a Commissioner requests so. In the event the item may be removed and discussed in general order of business. Seeing that item 3C has some public comment, I'd like to see if there's a motion to move item 3C to the regular agenda.
Chair, I move that we remove item 3C for discussion from the consent agenda.
Do I have any seconds?
Second that.
Okay. Commissioners, please vote. Passes unanimously. We'll move item 3C to item 3R. With that, do I have a motion for the remainder of the consent agenda?
A motion, remainder.
Do I have a second? Second, someone second? Okay.
Chair, I second.
Commissioners, please vote. All right, and the consent agenda passes unanimously. Thank you. I guess first item on the new business, regular agenda, item 3R, rallies at 75th Avenue in Peoria, conditional use permit, CU 23-08. Staff, if you'd like to present.
It's a pleasure to be here again. The item before you is a CU 23-08, and this is a conditional use permit for a Rally's restaurant at 75th Avenue in Peoria. This We have with us this evening Nicole Poston. She is the architect for this project. We also have ownership here, so if you have any questions that the staff can't answer, we've got folks in the audience here that can answer your questions as well. But this is, as I said, this is located at the west of 75th Avenue on the south side of Peoria, over near the Planet Fitness in that shopping center area right there. I'll give a little context. Right across from Peoria is the Santana Village Apartments, and then single-family residential to the immediate west, and then, of course, then the larger commercial complex right in the immediate area. And the project itself is about 2/3 of an acre, and it's currently vacant land, as you can see in the site plan. And then what we're looking at is an outdoor restaurant with a covered patio. Hours of operation, 9 a.m. to 1 a.m. Sunday through Thursday, and 9 a.m. to 3 a.m. on Friday and Saturday. And we're looking at basically a 1,220 square foot building with a covered patio dining area on the north end. And then on the south end, you can see there's a horizontal green box that is actually the drive-through canopy that extends on both sides of the building. I'll get more on that in just a second. The access to the site, the site actually does not have direct access onto Peoria. The access to the site comes from within the parking lot itself, or the drive aisle that's immediately to the west of the parking lot. So if you're coming to the site from Peoria, on that upper, you see the cross arrows up on the top. That would be how you would access the larger shopping center. Once you're in that drive aisle, you would then come down to the T and then enter the property from that direction. Or you could come in from the west, on the east side, where the brown arrows are shown, and you can also see that it was not shown there, but you could also approach from the south and take access from that direction. And then you'll notice on the north end, there's two red arrows that converge into a single red arrow. That's your primary drive lane. So it's a dual drive lane on the north end. They converge and then into a single lane. And all total, that is approximately 160 linear feet of stacking space, which is, 280 linear feet of stacking space, which is much more than what is required. Then you'll see the third arrow on that lower right-hand side that just kind of comes up and swings to the right. That is actually for an order pickup window. So if you were to call in, place an online order, they have it ready, you go there, pick up, you're on your way. So they're not actually, there's no order taking at that location. So it's just simply a pickup, or if it's DoorDash or somebody like that, they could just come there, pick up the order, and off they go. So we're comfortable with that setup. The parking, they have a requirement for 14 parkings. They're well parked at 31 parking spaces, so we have no concerns with that as well. There are some criteria in the zoning ordinance regarding certain separations. There's a minimum of 50 feet from the menu boards and the drive-through lanes and speaker boxes. There's 60 feet between the nearest residential and the drive-through lane. And then the speaker box and menu, I think, is actually pushing upwards around 80 feet. So there's very good separation there. Then there's also a requirement for separation between the drive-through lanes and the other traffic lanes in the area. And so you can see on the west side there's the 16 feet between the main drive aisle and then the pickup lane, the drive-through lane, and then a smaller island on the north end of 7 feet 8 inches. So it certainly meets that requirement. There's also a requirement in the code that says that the canopies, the drive-through canopies and other appurtenances need to be architecturally compatible with the primary building. And there's two perspectives here. The one on the left is showing the whole building, but the reason I included in this slide is to show how they are treating the canopies. So on the left side of the left slide, you see the drive-through canopy for the drive-throughs, and then on the north end, you see another canopy that's actually over the covered outdoor patio space. And then on the right, you'll see kind of buried behind that checkerboard screening is the actual menu board. And there's a requirement in the code that says that the menu board needs to be screened. And so you've got the screen wall in the front, the standard 3-foot screen wall that you would normally see, but then they added the extra checkerboard things, checkerboard things between the drive-through lane and the street to kind of screen that area out. So we're satisfied with that, and we think that is a nice addition. As you know, through the CUP process, the Planning Commission has purview to be able to look at other things such as hours of operation, the location of the drive-through, and additional screening and so forth. We feel that this applicant has done what they need to do to mitigate the issues that would be caused by this type of use. So we don't feel that any additional measures are necessary. And then, and in terms of public outreach, the site was noticed in accordance with the city requirements, and there was not a neighborhood meeting because that did not get triggered. And as of the writing of the report, we had not received any opposition, but we did receive the notice that you have in front of you right now, just this evening. So that did come in late this evening. So we feel that the facility complies with the standards and limitations as outlined in the zoning ordinance, and then when operated in accordance with the recommended conditions, it would have a minimal impact on the nearby users, and the applicant has submitted their Prop 207 waiver, so assuming approval, that will get recorded. We'll send that over to the clerk and get that recorded. So our recommendation for this is for approval, subject to the conditions outlined in Exhibit 1 in your packet. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. I have a question. Can you pull the slide that has the arrows with the different access points and the queuing? That one. I guess I'm trying to understand, is this a roadway on the west edge? Because that doesn't look like it ties to the aerial.
Yeah, apologize for that.
Because it looks like there's housing immediately adjacent to the site.
So Chairman, where the brown cross is on the north, that is the primary entrance into the larger shopping center. And so there is an existing driveway. I'll only back up into this. So you'll see to the left of the red box, there is a black asphalt area. That's what you're looking at. So you have a ribbon of
So that's not a
asphalt.
roadway, that's an interior drive aisle of the existing shopping center.
Correct.
Okay, all right. I didn't mean to step on any toes, but Jeff, Commissioner Nelson, questions?
Yeah, no worries. Thank you, Chairman. Just a clarifying question. I could apologize if it was in the staff report and I missed it, but the operating hours going till 1 and 3 a.m., does that include the patio, or are there different operating hours for the patio versus the drive-through?
Chairman, Commissioner, I would probably have to defer to the applicant on that one.
Okay. I'll ask the applicant. Thank you.
Okay. Give us 1 second. Commissioners have any questions for staff? Okay, please, state your name and address for the record. if you-
Sure, my name is Daniel Leung. I'm the franchisee and owner. We operate under Sun Food Concepts. And in regards to your question, no, our operating hours are typically, because we have the patio would be open during those times.
Okay. Any commissioners have any questions for the applicant? Okay. No? Okay. Couple follow-up questions. Thank you very much. Commissioner Nelson, you have questions for staff?
I do. So, knowing now that we have the patio open till 1 and 3 in the morning and it's adjacent to a neighborhood, any concerns about noise generated from the patio, the outdoor dining, that could affect the neighboring properties?
Chairman, Commissioners, part of the reason why we're here with the planning, with the conditional use permit is a requirement in the code that says if you have outdoor dining within a certain proximity of residential, we have to go through this process. So we're going through this process because of that outdoor dining. But, well, we'll get to the, oops, sorry. So let me look at the site plan real quick and give you an idea just how far Yeah, the distance from the residential to the outdoor patio is 80 feet 1 inches, 80 feet 1 inch to the edge.
That's in excess of minimum standard?
Well, there is no standard for that. It just says that if it, I believe the threshold is 200 feet, that it requires a conditional use permit.
Okay.
And then, Chair, Commissioner Nelson, if I can just add to what Rob had referenced there, we would still have our, I apologize, maybe I don't have them angled properly. We would still have our noise ordinance that is applicable throughout the city. So should there be any noise violations, they would have the ability to call those in as it comes up.
So that would be a complaint-generated process, I would assume?
Chair, Commissioner Nelson, that's correct.
Okay, so there's a remedy in place should that become a problem?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Myers?
Just to reconfirm, you said this was completely unopposed by the neighborhood notice, correct?
Chairman, Commissioner, up until this evening, we had not received any opposition. We did receive what's in front of you this evening.
Thank you.
But it appears to be consistent with the general plan, the zoning, uses in the center. It doesn't seem out of place. So, Commissioner Konkowski?
Could you cite that noise ordinance? I'm not familiar with it.
Chair, Commissioner Konkowski, I could certainly get you a citation. Off the top of my head, I do not have that.
Is it 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock?
I
o'clock, you don't have it.
believe it's around that time, but I would have to look it up in order to give you an accurate read on that.
Okay. The email that we received from a neighbor, have you had a chance to see that? It doesn't appear, hence my question, it doesn't appear that there's any direct access from this shopping center to the neighborhood. Have you seen this letter?
Chair Fighter and Commissioners. First, let me introduce myself to the new Commissioners. I'm Chris Lunka. I'm the City Traffic Engineer. I'll step away a little bit. I think it's a little loud. So in response to the concern that was expressed via email in regards to this project, the question was, has staff looked at safety items to traffic and that kind of stuff? And the answer is yes. Associated with this project, we've asked for a statement, a traffic statement from the applicant. The applicant hired a professional engineer and a PhD to prepare a statement per our standards, and they did do that. In that, they looked at the trips, they looked at sight distance at that intersection trying to get back out onto Peoria Avenue. They also looked at queuing to make sure that it doesn't queue up onto the arterial road, which is Peoria. To answer your direct question, Chairman Fighter, there is no direct access from the shopping center to 76 Drive and Comet. 76 Drive wraps around, becomes Comet. So some of the questions were concerns with traffic and the additional traffic along those roads, speeding, putting in a traffic signal, please, that kind of stuff. Well, those are existing concerns right now that they're asking the city to look at, not really associated with this fast food restaurant. You know, in regards to a traffic signal, I'll be upfront, that's not likely because we have a traffic signal at 77th Avenue, which is about 300 to 400 feet away. We wouldn't be able to put a signal at 76 Drive. However, if there's speeding concerns from the neighborhood, we have a process for that in our department. We have a petition process. We take the speeds, and if the residents would like speed humps, speed cushions, and there's enough support, the city pays for that. But there's a process, a separate process than what we're talking about today. And I'll be happy to explore that with the resident in the future. So did you have another question, sir?
No, I'm comfortable. Any commissioners have any other comments? Okay. Do I have a motion on item 3R?
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry. Did we have a speaker request form? I think we have to open the public hearing.
The speaker request form. Okay, I'll open the public hearing, but I don't have any speaker request forms. This is for
Okay.
non-agenda items at the end. So, Do you wish to speak on this particular item, or is it unrelated to this item? No, it's not related to this item. Okay, so we'll do that at the end of the meeting. So, thank you. All right, I'll open the meeting and public meeting and close the public meeting. So, anything else? Do I have a motion?
I'll motion.
A second?
Second? Commissioners, please vote.
Second?
And the motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much, and just like to say congratulations to the applicant and wish you nothing but success. Thank you. Next item on the agenda, 4R, Carioca, Lake Pleasant Parkway, PAD, Major Plan Area Development Amendment, Z19-05A.1. Staff?
Yes, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, Z19-05A.1, a major amendment to the Carioca Lake Pleasant Parkway PAD. This is, we have with us this evening Kurt Jones with Tiffany and Bosco. He also has a PowerPoint presentation that we have queued up when it's time for him to speak. He'd like to have a chance to present his, make his presentation to you as well. The site is, as you know, is located on the northeast corner of Lake Pleasant Parkway and Old Carefree Highway, and is really pretty much surrounded by state trust land. Immediately to the south is the Wild Horse West Restaurant, and then just a little bit to the west is the Turf Soaring School. But primarily, this particular piece of property is entirely, well, it is entirely surrounded by state trust land. And the purpose of this major amendment is really kind of threefold. One is to expand the allowance for RV storage, RV and boat storage on the property. Also to refine the planning unit boundaries, and then to remove multifamily residential from the use matrix altogether. Now, this aerial photo is a little bit obsolete. If you've been out there, you know that it's up and standing, and so this is not quite accurate, but this is the best we can do with the aerials that we have. But in any event, what we're looking at, and I've got another slide deeper on that gets into this a little bit more detail, but you're looking at 3 planning units. The upper left-hand corner minus the triangle on the west side of Lake Pleasant is where the existing Carioca station is at, the convenience store and the fuel center. The area that is kind of shown in that yellowy color is what they are looking for to do the RV and boat storage. And then there will be the lower left-hand corner has a reservation. It'll be a kind of a phase 3 component, and there's actually a stipulation of approval in your packet that requires that to be a minimum of 5 net acres after right-of-way dedication. But that will happen at a later date. One of the other factors of this is the current convenience store and the gas station. They're currently operating on well and septic. There's no city water or sewer out that far. And so there was originally, with the 2019 case, there was originally a stipulation approval that said that could go forward, but nothing else after that. And so what this application anticipates is that it would allow the RV and boat storage to also go on well and septic, but nothing else will go on well and septic, and no other development on the property until city water and sewer get up that far. So that's, but again, that was a condition of the original approval, and that's part of what triggers the major amendment on this case. So they also, as I mentioned earlier, they're amending the planning unit boundaries, really kind of simplifying it. The original PAD on the left-hand panel, you would have seen the 2 orangey colored spaces. That would have been where RV and boat storage would have been allowed. However, the original PAD would only allow it in one of those 2 locations. So with the proposed amendment, which is reflected on the right-hand side, that whole entire orangey yellowy area would be the RV and boat storage. So the site was noticed in accordance with the city's requirements. This applicant did hold a virtual outreach meeting on October 23rd of last year at 6 p.m. I believe there was one member in public, and we received no opposition to the case in this regard. And in our key findings, you know, we have it advances the goals and policy of the general plan. It's consistent and compatible with the development patterns in the area, and this applicant has also signed their Prop 207 waiver. And you have some recommendations, some options in front of you. You know, you can approve or recommend approval to the city council. You can make changes if you want to add something to the stipulations. You can do that, or you could recommend a denial or continue to a date certain. All of that having been said, our recommendation is for approval subject to the conditions outlined in Exhibit 1. And that concludes my presentation, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions for staff? You said the applicant has a presentation that he would like to make. Probably best to just hold our questions for the applicant, so a lot to unload. So.
Mr. Chairman, members of the Planning and Zoning Commission, Kurt Jones with Tiffany and Bosco. We're at 2525 East Camelback Road in Phoenix, 85016. Here tonight represent Carioca. As Mr. Kufis has said, basically we're updating I'm probably not going to go through my presentation, but we're updating our PAD. We were here a few years back where we worked with the city to work with the city's fire and water resources department to put the convenience store gas station without the city sewer and water in the area. We don't know when city sewer water will be up in this area. The market's sort of allowed this secondary use, and so we've worked with the city staff again, and the fire and the water resources folks and the traffic folks to place basically this, what I'll call an interim use until the city services come up here and the market changes for this mixed use area, and allow the back half of the property to be used for storage, working with the city staff on screen walls and working on that use. We're working with Mr. Lemke also on fixing what will some roadway issues where Lake Pleasant and Old Carefree hit each other with some ADOT land that we're working with ADOT on to fix also. So this is sort of an interim use that we're asking for. We're updating the PED with regards to what staff recommended, and we appreciate your time and your recommendation for approval.
Commissioners have any comments or questions for? I have a couple of comments. I think Commissioner Nelson and I, or Vice Chair Nelson and I, both remember this case from back years ago, and we remember that stipulation of the water and sewer. But I think the purpose of that was the intended uses were significantly more intense than what's being proposed here. I like the comment that the applicant made as it relates to the interim use, because with the existing airfield up there and the plans for that area, I think to have the flexibility to capitalize on everything that is envisioned for that area, I think is prudent. And candidly, I think it's a need up there with the lake. So I don't have any questions. I just think it's a great interim use for the site. So, anyone else? With that said, I'll request a motion.
Chair, I recommend approval. I move that we recommend approval of case Z19-05A.1, subject to the conditions of approval in Exhibit 1 in the staff report.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Commissioners, please vote. And it passes unanimously. Thank you. Thank you to the applicant. All right. Next item on the agenda, 2024 Commission meeting schedule, discussion and presentation regarding Planning and Zoning Commission meeting dates and times for the upcoming 2024 year. I would like to make a recommendation, given that we have significant amount of commissioners that are out, and I think this is appropriate that we maybe postpone this discussion item to the next meeting when hopefully everyone has the ability to weigh in. So unless anybody else has any opposition to that, do I have a motion to move item 5R to the next Planning Commission hearing? I'm here for a rep.
There we go. Mr. Chair, you're correct. I was just going to weigh into when the next meeting will be. I believe it's February 2nd? 1st, February 1st, I'm told.
Okay.
So if you want to make a
So
motion. I would
make a motion to continue item 5R to the February 1st, 2024 meeting.
I'll make a motion to continue item 5R to the February 1st agenda.
Second? Commissioners, please vote. And it passes unanimously. I'd like to make kind of the same comment as it relates to item 6R. I think the other commissioners, would like for them to have the ability to be present for this discussion for the election of officers that we do once a year. So if anyone has any opposition to that, if not, I'd like to ask for a motion to continue item 6R to the February 1st, 2024 meeting.
Chair, I move that we move item 6R, election of officers, to the February 1st, 2024 meeting.
Chair, I second that motion.
Okay, commissioners, please vote. And that passes unanimously as well. We're all in agreement tonight. All right, next item on the agenda is a call to the public for non-agenda items, so I'll open the meeting to the public. I have one speaker request form for a non-agenda item. George, sorry, I can't spell out your last name here.
It's
but-
Alan.
Got it. Go ahead. Please state your name and an address for the record, please.
All right, my
You
name
have
is
three minutes to
Perfect.
speak.
My name is George Allen. I live on West Wing 26448 North 84th Avenue. I'm here to speak about the change to the accessory building code. There was a study of last week and also was on the topic of the meeting before. I noticed that my neighbors have a structure, and I'm not technical enough to know if it'd be a ramada or what, but it's a beautiful structure. It's not imposing. I love it. It's right next to our fence, to their fence and our fence that we share. And it's at an angle. And I'm thinking this is a structure that is, like a pro-social use of your property, and I don't see any issue with it. And I'm worried that a decision might be made by a change to the code that would rule stuff like that out, that maybe don't totally hug my property, but, or I guess it's my parent. I should be, full disclosure, it's my parents' property, but maybe it doesn't fully hug our property.
You're a resident, you get a voice.
Yeah, perfect. It doesn't fully hug our property, but it's sort of, it would be ruled out, like if there was a foot set off all around their property where they couldn't put a ramada or anything. I feel like that's a limitation I wouldn't impose on them. And so stuff like that, if I were to buy property in the city sometime, I'd like to know that I could do stuff like that. So that's my concern, is that wasn't being considered. And beyond that, I don't really have an opinion, but I appreciate the opportunity to speak. Thank you.
Appreciate the input, and thanks for being involved. I know staff has spent a lot of time on this issue, and I assume there will be more to come. So thank you so much. Seeing no other speaker request forms, I'll close the public meeting. From staff.
I'm just getting used to the new dual mic system here. On the screen are the next commission meetings. So we do have a meeting next on February 1st, so we'll consider the items that we continue tonight. In addition, we do have 2 study sessions scheduled. One will be a continuation of the discussion for accessory buildings, so that to the speaker in the back, that will be a continuation of that discussion. And the second item is another text amendment pertaining to self-storage facilities. So that'll both be on the February 1st. And with that, that's all we have this evening.
Okay. Any commissioners have any items to comment or report? If not, we'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you all.